Welcome, guys, to the channel. We are here talking Avatar: The Last Airbender, Netflix edition. The show comes out in roughly a week or so. I'm Mike, novice cinephile. It's Christian from Film Optix and Leo from Geekly Goods. We back, guys. The Avatar crew, Team Avatar. Elliot couldn't make it today, our fourth member of Team Avatar, but that's okay. We'll get back together when the season is over. I guess I want to start with dun 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 with the
some Xylee agents came by and swapped them this morning, so I don't know where you went.
Crap.
We better practice our bending skills to go rescue our boy, man.
Seriously. I guess we're gonna start with overall excitement. We're in a weird spot where this show was announced in 2018, right? And then Mike and Brian left due to creative differences, and not just them leaving the project, they left very hurt and angry, and they said a lot of things on their way out, which is fascinating. And then Albert Kim and the new crew comes in. They did co-write the first episode with Albert Kim, just to make that clear for everybody. People didn't know that. But the new crew comes in, we get the kids cast, time keeps passing, here we are years later, show looks good, we react to the trailer, looks amazing, and then Albert Kim starts doing interviews and talking, and it felt like the hype just started dying as we inched closer. So I'm going to start with you, Leo. How are you feeling for Avatar: Last Airbender as we near its release?
So the trailer from Netflix recently dropped about a couple weeks ago now, and I will admit, when I saw that trailer, hype. I like the look, a couple of CG issues here, a little bit of funky visuals, but besides that, I was very hyped. I mean, it really seemed to capture the spirit of that first book of Avatar very well, and of course, we have that monstrosity that M. Night Shyamalan did, and so we have a worse adaptation out there. So I think that helps this a little bit with how bad that adaptation ended up being. Nowhere to go but up. Exactly. So it looked good. I really liked the depiction. I liked how Appa looked, Momo, them flying through the sky. It looks awesome. Zuko, Iroh, everything looks great. And then the creators started expressing more comments about how the characters are changing in this series. And it definitely kind of dropped me down a couple of points. So I'm at a healthy 8 out of 10 because I am very excited for what's to come just from seeing that trailer and the various clips that have come out since. It does seem like everybody involved has watched Avatar, is really dedicated to making this a live action depiction. And I'm trying to go in with a mindset of this is a different version on what I'm used to. I know this is not exactly going to be a beat for beat, shot for shot remake. There's going to be a ton of shots and beats and things borrowed from the original series, of course, but it's going to add a small spin to it as well. So I'm cautiously optimistic, 8 out of 10. But those character changes, man, I'm sorry, they got me nervous talking about Sokka ain't gonna be sexist, which I think that's part of the character arc. So having him have that big flaw in the beginning allows for growth. Katara not being there was something saying that she wasn't playing a gender role or something, and I found that to be kind of odd since the character already doesn't. So I was like, okay, are we taking away the motherly spirit from Katara? I really hope not. Aang not being as adventurous. So we've got some kind of weird comments to come out, but I'm still excited. I'm gonna just wait until I can see it before diving any deeper.
Neutral Jing. Got it.
Yes. 8 out of 10 though. It does look really, really good. And it looks
8 out of 10 is still extremely high.
Yeah, it is. It is. I'm not at a 7 or nothing. I'm still at an 8. I'm still feeling good, but yeah.
Nice. Christian, we reacted to the trailer and TikTok, YouTube Shorts, they loved it. Because they're like, dude, Christian is just smiling ear to ear the entire time. He looks so excited, man.
I was.
How are you feeling now, though, after hearing all this other stuff and the second trailer coming out?
I'm also at a 8 out of 10. I feel like the showrunners of Avatar: Last Airbender pulled a DB Benioff and Weiss towards the end of season 8 of Game of Thrones, where they could have just, regardless of what people think of season 8, they kept talking and then talking and talking. You can't run your mouth that much. I'm like, oh my God, stop. And I felt the same with these showrunners for the remake or the live action version of Avatar Last Airbender. Like you had said, Mike, we watched the trailer together, and I had to give credit where credit's due because the production looks phenomenal. The casting could not be more perfect. I know they're going to change a few things around. I believe that this is a more condensed version of book 1. So it's not like we're going to get like 22 episodes. It's probably going to be between like 8 to 10 episodes. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah,
but
it's confirmed to be 8 episodes long.
And it's okay. I wasn't entirely sure if I should. Okay. I was like, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah, okay. So it is confirmed for 8 episodes. But yeah, much like Leo was saying, they just kept talking. And of course it came through IGN. I was like, oh brother. Which is like
Christian and his vendetta against IGN.
It's not the fact that it's just I didn't even want IGN to even take that heat because that was like an exclusive interview through them. I was like, oh boy. But yeah, the showrunners, like they seem to have a lot of passion for Avatar. And I believe I read somewhere that they want this to be more serious. They wanted to be more like Game of Thrones. And that confused me because I was very perplexed because I can understand them wanting the Game of Thrones awards and like the Game of Thrones viewership. But I mean, when it comes to Avatar, like book 1, it's especially with the original show, it's essentially teaching kids about genocide and just how war happens. Like those are not easy topics to talk about, but they kept saying, like, oh, we wanted to be like Game of Thrones. I'm like, well, they're both fantasy shows, but they're so different. So I was a little perplexed with that, but like what Leo was saying, like the whole changing Sokka's his entire like character arc has me a little worried because that feeds into how Sokka treats his sister. But not only that, but that's the mindset of the northern and the water tribes altogether, where that's going to feed into Master Paku. How are they going to handle that? How are they going to handle Suki? She is supposed to be one, if not the only person, humbling Sokka, disproving his way of life because that's all he's known. He was raised in a society where men are supposed to be the warriors and the women are supposed to be the healers and the nurturers and the caregivers. So, and that's in the North and Southern Water Tribe. As small as the Southern Water Tribe is, but still, like they have that hive mindset of like, this is our way of life. This is what we believe in. And yeah, I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to say, oh brother, like this is terrible, because I'm sure it's still there, but
yeah,
I just feel like that there are certain things that need to be corrected when it comes to being like for remakes, when it comes to a beloved TV show or a movie, whatever it is, outdated jokes. But this is literally part of Sokka's character.
That's what's so strange to me. Because you were addressing a couple of the stories that broke earlier, like about how it wants to be more like Game of Thrones, right? It's like, okay, so you want to be a little bit more mature because Avatar Last Airbender was a TV PG show for children on Nickelodeon, airing between SpongeBob SquarePants and Danny Phantom. So, like, I get it, but in the not the same breath, but essentially like the same week, you then come out and say, oh yeah, we changed this thing about Sokka because sexism is outdated and it doesn't fit my modern ideals. And it's like, you didn't realize how mature the kids show was then, did you? Because it wasn't promoting sexist ideas. If anything, it was right. I think it was very mature in the idea that Sokka wasn't a bad guy. Like the villain being sexist is a thing that can happen, but it's like he was a normal dude who had these messed up views and wrong opinions because, like you were saying, Christian, that's how that culture influenced him in some capacity. Even if it wasn't as strict as the northern tribe, the southern tribe still built that ideology in Sokka some way, somehow. And for him to change and develop, and like I think the Kyoshi Warriors is what, like episode 3?
Yeah, it's like
it's a very small arc by the time he changes.
Yeah. So it's not like it drags it out much longer. And I kind of want to jump off of that point of them changing it because of modern times. I think the fear is that social media is going to go off about something like that. Oh, there's going to be tons of TikToks. I'm like, let them say these things so they can watch the show and we can get more viewers and they can understand that, no, this is a character arc. That was an inherent flaw of this character. It changes. Like, don't be afraid of the social media commentaries around it.
You can't.
That's part of it.
It shouldn't be, at least. Yeah, it's so. I don't know.
Hopper stop smoking.
I mean, and now I'm afraid if it gets greenlit for season 2, it's Topps is going to be passing out compliments the entire time.
We can't have that, bro. We can't have that, man. Like, you can't be.
But everyone's having redemption arcs. Like, there's a lot of even outside of Zuko, like a lot. And even Aang has his own redemption arc. Like, everyone has a redemption arc in their own way or their own shape. It's not, evil to good, but like, Sokka learns the way of the world because he's literally never been outside of the Southern Water Tribe. Of course he's gonna think something like that. And then when he is exposed to the rest of the world, being in this little igloo, huts, Klondike bar hut is most of his life. And like basically the fire, like he knows 2 things coming out of the Southern Water Tribe. He hates firebenders because of obviously what happened with his mother and basically destroying their village. And he was raised to be a warrior. He was a kid. He wanted to go, off to fight with his father, and his dad's like, no. So I'm getting ahead of myself, but it's weird.
It feels like just a lack of, like Leo said, it's either the fear of social media in that sense of like getting called out there, or they just don't have time for character arcs, because you then have the comments of like, hey, Aang is going to be a little bit more serious because of the pressure of becoming the Avatar. And it's like that feels like they misunderstood Aang.
Right.
Because that's not Aang, that's Aang.
Right.
How did Aang get frozen? How did Aang get frozen?
From running away from
the pressures.
Yes.
He ran away from the problem. So guess what? Him wanting to ride the elephant koi is running away from his problems.
Yeah.
And that was the whole core arc of Aang, just like Christian was saying. These characters have big character arcs, and it's Aang going from running away from responsibility to taking it head on, because the kid didn't even have a year. I mean, this dude didn't even have that long. So it's like, he had to face this problem head on. I mean, literally, Sozin's comments coming down, and it's like, I got to do it.
He still never learned in time, because like, Sozin's comment is arriving as Zuko is teaching the kid. You literally see it
barely squeezed by with earthbending by itself. I'm like,
Aang was not a master at anything but airbending when he was fighting.
No, not at all. Like, no, but it's it's still, he's still learned the basics. But it's like, even with Aang, it's like I want to see that kiddish nature. I'm not saying you have to do every single episode. I can't remember. Was Great Divide, was that season 1 or 2?
Great Divide was season 1.
I think that was
season 1.
Oh, it was season 1. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, that episode.
We got Great
Divide. I know that's
Mike's
favorite episode of the entire series. Yeah, I want to see the kiddish nature, because they're saying they want this to be like Game of Thrones. They want it to be more serious, but the people who are checking this out have either grew up with the series, or when Avatar, the original series, finally hit Netflix, so many people watched it, and I was shocked that so many people had never seen the show. But that's coming from my experience, was like, okay, I watched it while it was on cable. A lot of kids don't even know what cable is nowadays. So it's like the way that we consume television was different back then, where it's like, God, how long was the wait between season 2? like that split. But okay, I can't even get into that. But yeah,
the wait was long, bro.
It was a long wait.
You remember being there every week, and it was like at one point, bro, when they had to do new episodes, it would just start over, y'all. We would just watch and waiting for that next episode, and they'd be like, "Awesome, we're gonna get into the Earth book." Nah, it just restarted book 1, and you're like, "Really? I gotta go through another 30 episodes."
The wait between Earth and Fire was awful.
That
was Nickelodeon was so cruel with the reruns for that one because the episodes they kept showing was when Appa was getting kidnapped. And it's like, play a different episode, please.
Pain, emotional damage.
damage.
But I kind of want to get to the point of this video. And it's like, we've had these weird comments. We've seen enough of this show going into it. What does it need to do and get right for you to be happy with it?
Well, it's unfortunate that it sounds sort of like we're not on the right track, but I feel like you need the fundamental core beings of these characters to be right. And I think at least it's going to be a tighter version of the plot, but at least the core plot of this kid going from, I don't want to be the Avatar, to having to embrace this huge duty and run face first into this responsibility. I want that core idea to still be there. So I think for me, that's a big part of it. The bending, I want the bending to look good. The visuals got to look good, y'all. Like, we cannot be having 8, 9, 10 people doing some earth bending and dancing for 5 minutes in order to move a little rock. We cannot be having that. So I
flies by.
It was like
it flew by like a little pepper. I was like, these people are just. And a little itty bitty pebble flew by. I'm like, what is going on?
They would have been better off just picking it up and throwing it at the guy at that point.
Also, get things right. Don't be saying we got to have a source for firebending. That's not right. We got all these weird changes in ideals, pronouncing names in the movie version. Get the lore correct as well. So lore, visuals, and just that core theme and concept of the characters and the story for me.
Those are all. So I agree with pretty much everything Leo said, but I believe, like, when we were covering book 1 on our show, and we had talked about how book 1, it's not just about the journey from the South Pole to the North Pole so that Aang can find a waterbending teacher, but it's about the world building, like literally learning about the world, how everything is in the state of this world 100 years after Aang abandoned his duties, to see what the aftermath really is. Because not only is it a journey from South to North Pole, but Aang really just gets to see what the state of the world is, and it's like, hey, this is the world that you left behind. This is the world that you ran away from. This is the aftermath. This is the ramifications, the consequences to your actions. And I think they really got to get the world building right, for sure, as well. When Leo was talking about the little pebble floating by, I think it was in season 3 where Sozin's Comet was just happening, and there was like a firebender who does like all these cool little stunts and stuff, like in the original show, and he's like, huh! And it's like a small little bowl. That's what it reminded me of.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yeah,
happened, and they lost their power.
Yeah. I want to see how obviously each bending the elements is like a different fighting style, but yeah, I want to see how how fluid the bending works between, like, obviously Aang's I want to see how they're gonna work with airbending more so.
Yeah,
that's gonna be interesting, because obviously there's so much you can do in animation. It's like Mike said, it's like my favorite genre, because it's like there's so much you can do, and it's like gorgeous. But yeah, the airbending, I'm curious to see how they're going to handle like the VFX. I mean, everything looks great so far, but like, trailers are one thing, and then we got to see the real deal. And of course, I gotta have my Uncle Iroh funny moments. And I think Azula is actually supposed to appear in season 1 from the pictures that we've seen.
Yeah,
so that's a big change right there.
As well.
And Ozai, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean,
so how do you feel about
changes.
that? Like, they did announce again, they won't shut up. At this, like, the show comes out in a couple of weeks. Just stop revealing information. But they did reveal that you see the Agni Kai between Zuko and Ozai.
Yeah.
And some people were mad about that because it's something that the show kind of doesn't really show. You just see like the aftermath of it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is that the type of like additions that you're cool with? Like, hey, it's a thing that we know happens. We didn't see it, so you guys are finally like addressing that, or is it like, oh, you're ruining the mystique of Ozai because we see him way too much?
Yeah, I'm kind of in between with that and the Airbender genocide as well. I'm kind of like, seeing the ramifications, showing us the consequences of these events, I think were a much more powerful storytelling tool as opposed to showing us. I mean, we did get like a beat of Zuko and Ozai, but it was like Azula and Iroh witnessing it. I think if they were to depict it like that, it would come across as very powerful storytelling, like the original. I don't know that I need to see these events. I'm a little concerned there because I feel like seeing it takes away from just how big the consequences were and how unfortunate the things that happened afterward ended up being. Like, it takes away a little bit from the effect. But from the perspective of if I had never viewed Avatar before, it might actually be a good idea to show people instead of telling it through the characters in this way. Yeah. Because if I haven't ever seen the animated series, maybe I would feel a little differently. Maybe I would feel like, well, why didn't we get to see that? Or because I admittedly with Game of Thrones, I'm like, well, I really want to see Robert's Rebellion. I've been really wanting to see that for a long time. So
yeah, we got to see Rhaegar at some point.
Please. And we are. We're going to Aegon's Conquest, y'all, announced for HBO.
Yes,
but anyway, yeah, I think maybe if I saw the show, I have a much different opinion. But if maybe for new viewers, it's a good idea.
Yeah, I agree with Lee. I know this is basically us just like agreeing all together. But I'm thinking about it in the aspect of how HBO handled The Last of Us, where there were things that they were able to expand upon. But again, that is adapting a video game story into live action. But still, there's a lot of things we saw with Bill and Frank. We got to see a little bit more of a relationship between Sarah and Joel.
Yeah.
And I guess the question is, like, I mean, I wouldn't mind it because it's like, they keep saying it's a remix. I'm like, all right, this is like it's Kingdom Hearts, whatever. 2.5, whatever remix that they keep doing. But like remix is an interesting phrase. I would have said more of like a reimagining, but I guess they are mixing up everything. We're seeing Ozai, we're seeing Azula early.
I mean, yeah, the first 4 avatars were cast.
Yeah, that's true. I guess it's like, yeah, I guess the question is like what is the target audience for this live action? Because as we talked about, the showrunners keep blabbing around, but who is it? Is it for new people to get into the show? I'm assuming it is. And that's a question I've been trying to figure out. Like, is it for the old fans? And like, there's a reason why Mike and Brian left, obviously. And like, I don't really blame them, but
they got their own studio. They're good.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We're getting more content. We just gotta wait just a little bit longer. But I'm assuming that this reimagining or this remix is more for people who have never seen the show. But it's hard because it's like, man, Devin, my co-host, he's never seen Avatar: Last Airbender, and I know.
Devin.
He's
on
not
that, Devin. Come on.
Devin, come on, man.
He's not a big fantasy fan. I don't even think he's seen all the Harry Potters, so it's like that doesn't faze me at all. But I was like, man, like I know he wants to watch it, but I'm like, I don't want him to watch it before watching the original. But then again, maybe it's like,
how have you not made him watch the original yet? That's my question.
Right.
He is his own person. I cannot. I cannot control that man.
Strap him to the chair and like, hey, buddy, this season's only going to take 10 hours. Let's go.
Only 10 hours.
It's a requirement.
It's a requirement.
At least book one. If he doesn't vibe with it, that's fine. But like, you got to at least get him down to watch this.
I'm trying everything in my being. But I'm viewing this remix or this reimagining as kind of like the book versus the movie. So I saw, with Ballad, Songbirds, and Snakes, I've read the book prior. I've read it twice. And I feel like, okay, if I never read the book and I just watched the movie, never read the book, I would have liked the movie more. I did like the movie, but it's like, that's how I'm kind of viewing this whole Avatar thing, where it's like, it's the abridged version of the original because it is only 8 episodes. And I'm like, my gosh, what are they going to cut out? How long are these episodes? And I think I'm trying to figure out, basically, long story short, who is the series for? Is it predominantly for people who've never seen it? Or is it for the longtime fans?
It's for both, because Netflix needs an IP. They need an IP. Like One Piece, for example, right? One Piece, that series was made because of the name, the IP, the brand, but it was I can very much say that series was made for new viewers, because it's hard for people to get into One Piece. We've talked about that at length. We don't need to get into why. 1,000 episodes, over 1,000 chapters, blah blah blah, right? But like, they told that first arc in a fun 8 episodes, and it's a fun swashbuckling adventure. And much like Avatar, it does scale back some of those cartoony elements, right? Like Luffy is a character in early One Piece that I don't enjoy, but I do love Netflix's Luffy because he is more mature. He is a little bit more level-headed. He's still fun. He's still goofy, but it's much more human portrayal, less cartoony anime portrayal.
Yeah,
right?
Less impulsy. Yeah.
So if Netflix can do that same thing with Avatar, I'm sure that's what they're hoping for. But on the flip side, Avatar is it's not more well known than One Piece, but it's way easier for somebody to get into it. Yeah. Because every season is on Netflix. They're going to do the thing like they do with every franchise, where under it's going to be like the Avatar collection, and it's going to be Korra, and it's going to be the Last Airbender, and it's going to be the live action one, And so
yes, sir.
At this point, it is kind of a weird question of like, they want to do both. And so that's why we get these conflicting comments, right? Of like, well, we want to be more mature, because let's face it, Sokka's praising a giant mushroom because he's high as a kite in season 2. And it's like, that's cartoony. And his eyes get all anime-y. Yeah. It's like, it's weird. It's funny. It's a cartoon, but like, clearly they can't do that. So I'm hoping that we're all kind of overreacting to those comments, where it's like, hey, they had to tone things down a little bit to make it fit in live action, and that the phrasing and the messaging was just kind of poor. Like, Aang literally doesn't have time to go on a bunch of adventures. They don't have the episodes for it.
No, they do
not. That Aang is just dry as toast. I'm the Avatar. I have to save the world. Like, he can still be fun, but he doesn't have time for it.
That M. Night Shyamalan, when he's like, "Hi, I'm the Avatar," I was like, "Man, this ain't Aang. I need this kid to be Aang, man.
This
be a
is discount
kid,
drug mart Aang."
Him and Gyatso making their fruit tarts and just chucking them at the old men. Like, I still need him to be a fun-loving character. You can even have the joke of, I want to ride the elephant koi, and Sokka's like, we don't have time for that, and they just move on.
Like, perfect. So it's gonna be interesting, but it's like, man, 8 episodes. I mean, it's like, how long are those episodes? Because I know I'm just a rhetorical question, like wondering how long those episodes are, because obviously we know Stranger Things is ending. Like, that has been that Cobra like Kai without too. Cobra Kai, but like Stranger, like that's been Netflix's flagship show for so long, but it's ending. Mm-hmm. So they have tried with The Witcher, and they messed that up. They tried with Cowboy Bebop, and that got canceled faster than
they got canceled so fast.
It got so quick. Them Rotten Tomatoes dropped in, and they was like, no season 2.
Like, it was
Homie broke his leg to be Spike Spiegel. That was so sad.
That's
like,
so sad.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, like, it's we see, and I hate to get into the cancellation of shows because it's like,
it's cut. If this isn't successful, it's out. Seriously,
so do you think book one, if it's one and done, they're done? They're done.
I think they are.
They're done with it.
Yeah,
because we have 3
Netflix
seasons
is always
of The
like
Witcher. And that's still
look at Cowboy Bebop, a complete open end to set.
That should have been easy. That
should
have been easy.
Canceled.
To your point though, Christian, with The Witcher, even if you don't like its quality, it got views. And that's the thing. People watched it, people covered it, people talked about it. And even now, this last season, even if you don't like it, Henry Cavill leaving blew up. So guess what? Next season, probably going to get a ton of eyeballs on it because they want to see how the show looks without him there.
That's true. That's true. That's very true.
So if this show comes out and it's critically panned and the fans don't like it and all that stuff, they'll cut it. They don't care. And like if Paramount,
it's just a lot of money to sink in, and then just
that's
a big IP.
They did it with Bebop. They done it with so many shows. Warrior Nun luckily came back. That was one of their bigger shows that got canceled.
And that's still not
that
what
fantasy show get canceled. What was it called? Shadow and Bone.
Dude, I'm so disappointed they canceled that. But we did get 2 tall girl movies. So.
Hey man, Emily's still in Paris living her best life.
She is. I guess for me, it's not consistent with the cancellation of shows. Obviously, I would love to see them finish out this journey because even for Percy Jackson on Disney Plus, I was like, they didn't say anything about season 2. I was like, what's
greenlit now? We get
greenlit. Thankfully. So I mean, I
see how they had to wait to get that full season out, see the numbers, see the
But you see that's different though, because with Netflix, it's going to be all out at once versus weekly. So that's
and if that comes out and Leo's going to have a whole dang Twitter thread about why the show sucks, they're going to cancel it. They are.
It's all on you, Leo.
It's true.
I need to stretch your truth a little bit.
I gotta ask you though, Christian, do you really want them to keep going if it's bad? Like if it's just
right, that's another thing. If it's not good, do we want to keep going?
No, I don't.
It's like put the thing out its misery. We got a movie coming out next year anyway. Let's go.
That's true.
I
wouldn't want them to keep going if it's. But it's weird with streaming because ratings are one thing, but even with like Velma season 1. People do not like that show, but they got freaking views. People hate watching that, like till Kingdom Come, till the cows came home, and it's getting a season 2.
Coyote versus Acme. I hate this word.
But I mean, no, I to answer your question, no, I wouldn't want them to just. But see, I do because I want to see top live action. That's just
a bad top live action. Come on, man. Nobody no. Anyway, we gonna get back on track. We talked about this show.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to derail. I apologize.
You're good. We talked about this show and them condensing storylines, right? I guess we kind of hinted like we want them to keep the essence of the characters and the world building. But what is it specifically that you need? Like, we know Boomy's in this show. What do you want to see from King Boomy? Is there anything specific in an episode or with the character that you like? They need to make sure they hit this specific beat for me.
Well, absolutely the Kyoshi Warriors, but since Sokka's character has changed, I'm not really sure what the lesson there is going to be.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, I need them to really hit that. So I'm not sure where they're going to go with that, but I need them to have a fundamental lesson in that. Also with King Boomy, like I want to see him palling around with Aang. You know what I mean? I want to see him like actually make them believe
the Candy Rock,
he's somebody else, like he did.
The Candy Rock,
the creepy,
the Candy Rock. They killed him, and then like right. I'm like, I want these characters that still bring the memorable moments that they have from the series into this one,
especially the siege of North. Like
of
North, that's got to be because that is Aang's his first realization. Like, like I'm the Avatar. I can help these people. Yeah. I can stop this attack on the Fire Nation. The Fire Nation's done, irreparable damage throughout the kingdom. So I think that for sure, like that has to hit, because it's his first, it's Avatar Aang, because that's the name of the episode. Yeah, like
that's his first Avatar. Well, not his first.
Well, not his first.
But it's his first like dutiful Avatar.
Yeah,
event.
like that was his first. Like, I need to take care of business.
Him merging with the water spirit and like going full kaiju and
Zhao about to.
Of course, Sokka's first girlfriend.
Oh, that's rough, buddy.
His first girlfriend.
Oh no! The moon
that's
princess.
Also,
she's got to be
also kind of cap. He met Suki first, but whatever.
Hey, that's how love works, man. He didn't realize it. Day one, she was there.
Nah, man, because when they reunite, she run up to Sokka like, they did something, So it's like, oh, okay, you right.
No, but Siege of the North is gonna be interesting how they get there, because like we've been saying, it's only 8 episodes. We got us to go from South Pole to North Pole and all the Earth kingdoms that we travel to in between.
And General Zhao. That's another thing.
That's a character we haven't even touched on.
Yeah, because he really
seen
the first outside of
Commander
he's like the first like pseudo villain that we get, like an extension of.
Yeah, he's the villain of season 1.
Yeah. Yep. So he's got to be.
So and with Azula and Ozai appearing in season 1, do you guys think that'll take away from Commander Zhao? Because what I liked about them being mysterious and kind of behind the curtain is like, okay, you give this emphasis to Zhao being the first big bad, who, I mean, in retrospect is like, whatever. But in the first book, he's like this big bad dude, So is it taking away from Zhao in any way, just by emphasizing on them a little bit more?
That's a good question.
I feel like it does, in the sense that we always level up each season, right? Like we start with Zhao, then we go to the princess with Azula. It's like she's the main villain of season 2, and then we go to the Fire Lord in season 3. And so having Zhao, who again over the course of the season literally gets promoted, he's like commander and then admiral and then Moonslayer, as he calls himself in the finale, right? And so the cool thing that I love about Zhao is that from the very beginning, he's a villain for both Aang and Zuko. And like,
he's an obstacle for both. Yeah,
right. Like we have an Agni Kai between him and Zuko in like the 3rd episode of the entire show, and so that sets up like, hey, Zuko's evil, but in the Fire Nation, he's still the guy we're rooting for because we hate this dude.
Yeah,
but if you have Azula over here and then you have Ozai over here, it's like, what role does he serve? And then you have the whole thing of like, in the original show, right? Iroh and Ozai never interact. Throughout all of canon, we've never seen them interact. Now, introducing Ozai into this show, that's a dynamic that we might see that we've never seen before. And now that again is drawing focus away from Zhao, because how does Iroh and Ozai even in relationship work? Because he banished this kid, and then Iroh's like, I'm gonna go with him, and it's like, what all goes on in this family dynamic that we're introducing in season 1? Because the whole point of Zuko being banished was he was away from his family. Once you bring the family into the story, like you were saying, Leo, that displaces Zhao in the power dynamic of like hierarchy of villains. And then that also changes Zuko's story too, of like, if he's estranged and he's been gone for 3 years, but we keep seeing him, I don't know.
Right. And I wonder how much we are going to see them, because it's like, okay, we've got the set photos. We've got if it's just like a blip of a flashback or something, I think I'm cool with that. Like some kind of appearance in like a flashback scene, or maybe the genocide, Ozai is on screen directing that or something. I don't know, but obviously,
he wouldn't be alive.
My fault. My fault. But I don't know.
I'm though. Maybe he'll show up.
Yeah, he gonna be. he was kind of vile, but I don't know. I'm wondering how much they're gonna be involved, and if it's just kind of like a couple of small appearances, okay, but don't make them like the big bad sitting on the chair the whole time. It's like, okay, well, Zhao's not, like you were saying, Zhao's nothing. Who cares? It's they can dispose of him because we've got bigger fish to fry over here, as opposed to when in the show, it's like at the end of that first season, we finally see Azula, and it's like, oh,
you're like,
yeah. Right, it's kind of
I
like,
know Azula existed. They didn't even mention her. Then all of a sudden, Zuko's
you're like, oh my God,
father said I was born lucky, or she was born lucky. I was lucky to be born. It's like,
and you're like, who?
Yeah, and
right?
then it's just like, go get your brother Zuko betrayed us, and then it pans to Azula. It's like, oh crap, what's happening? Let's go. There's another
menacing look in her eyes.
I
remember it, man. I was like,
yeah, that was a bite when she was like first on screen. I was like, holy smokes.
Seriously. Yeah. And also, we also need to make sure that the relationship between Appa and Aang, or I'm just saying, it's Appa. Like, I want to see. I mean, I know Appa is obviously CGI.
Do you have the fear that Netflix is going to do the thing where Appa show up and then mysteriously Appa gone?
Yes,
for like the majority of the episode.
Exactly. Yeah,
for budgetary reasons.
They were like, oh,
yes.
yeah.
Him and Momo, they're gonna be floating around in the air the whole time.
They're gonna be little specks
right out of frame.
Right out of frame. You can barely. Yeah, I'm actually kind of afraid for that. But like, it's Appa. Like there is no journey without Appa. He gets he's their taxi cab. He gets them from point A to point B. Like, like he's
their taxi cab. Damn.
He is his own character in his own right. I mean, we can't talk about season 2 yet. I'll just start tearing up. But I mean,
we'll get to season 2 if season 2 happens, Christian. Don't worry. We'll talk Toph and everything later.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I keep jumping ahead. But no, like seriously, because not only the relationship between Aang and Appa and obviously Momo, but like those two characters are really the only connection that Aang has to his own culture. So it's like, I'm not saying Appa has to be in every single shot, but don't make it obvious.
See that bond.
Yeah, you need to see the bond. Don't make it obvious where it's like, okay, well, we got to cut away from him for a second, and you know, where it's like, poof, where'd he go? It's like, you know, he'll show when he shows up, kind of thing.
And that's the thing we were talking earlier. I didn't get a chance to really jump in on it, but like them showing the Air Nomad genocide. And I know that the kids show literally couldn't. Like, if Mike and Brian had a different rating, maybe they would have shown it.
Yeah,
you don't know, but that's why constraints for creatives sometimes is a helpful thing, because it makes them like think a little bit harder to work around certain aspects. I think there's a beauty though in us not seeing it, because we feel like Aang. We have the flashbacks of him and Gyatso like a couple times, and then they're just gone forever. And we never cut back to them. We never go back there. We never show the Air Nomads again because they've been deleted.
Yeah, like erased from history. There's no reason to actually go back for.
And I think story-wise, it's very powerful because they only live in Aang's memory or through Appa and Momo. And when you get to that season 2 moment that, you know, it's not going to be covered in this season, but like when he loses that, has the risk of losing that.
Yeah,
that again harkens back to he lost his people because he ran away. He never saw them again.
Yeah,
and so to show the Airbenders and their culture and the Nomads and Gyatso in an extended period, I don't think it's going to hurt the show. I don't think it's going to damage it. But again, it just feels like you lose a little bit of what made the original series
mysterious as well.
Yeah, it's what made it perfect. Like, there's of course flaws in individual episodes, but like the way that it's paced out, it's plotted out, the way these characters develop, grow, and change, all works with very clear intent. And so once you start taking small things like Sokka, the sexism thing was a 3-episode arc. In the grand scheme of the show, it's not that big a deal. But for Sokka's character, that is his first character arc. That is the first growth we see in that character, in the show in general, really. And even Katara's
motherly,
like her motherly characteristics. This all harkens back to how the Water Tribe is and how they grew up. And like Katara felt the need to overcompensate because Sokka became Mr. I'm hardened warrior. And it's like she had to become the sensible one because he's training 5-year-olds how to fight.
Yeah, I mean,
because he doesn't want the village to be attacked again.
Well, and the death of their mother. It's like, you know, someone like they have Grand's awesome, but it's like Grand can only do so much. Grand's getting old, and this is basically the burden.
And their father left too.
Yeah,
that's another thing.
Yeah, it's the burden of the parents being passed down to the children at a very young age, them growing up way too fast. And it makes sense for both of them because they have these, like, Katara has this motherly instinct to not only protect Grand and the rest of the village, but to look out for her own sibling. And, it's like a weird dyad between the sibling characteristics between Sokka and Katara. And then later on, when you see with Zuko and Azula. So it's like, it's very
parallels.
These parallels. Yeah. But like even just Katara being that motherly figure, it's all she knows. It's all she knows.
There's something, Mike, as you were chatting about Monk Gyatso, and I wonder if it's because we don't have enough time that seeing the genocide will make that character a little more impactful. And it's not that he wasn't in the show, but I'm wondering if it's because, okay, we got to shrink down episodes.
We need you to understand Aang's pain immediately.
Right. Immediately. Yeah. So maybe it's like, okay, maybe we even start the show with Aang running away. Maybe it's he runs away, flashes forward to the genocide, and then we get to the iceberg.
Yeah, maybe. It is a remix.
And so if that's how they reshuffle things around, I think for new viewers especially, it will emphasize just how important Monk Gyatso is for Aang's life. But it's like you were saying, Christian, the 8-episode tight frame, I don't want to lose Katara's mother and the emphasis on that. And I think my boy Real James pointed out that she still had her necklace after a certain point. Where it's actually taken away, but in the trailer they're further in the series, or it seems to look further in the episodes, but she still has it. And I'm like,
so that's the thing. Not to cut you off completely. Shout out to James, love him. Want to get him back on the channel soon. He was able to pick that up. Do you think that's again the results of a cut? Because that's from the episode where they run into the pirates and Zuko takes the necklace, or she loses it to the pirates, right? Do you think like that's another book one random adventure? And we said this on your podcast, Christian, when we were reviewing book one. Book one is a lot of world building and it's set up. Book two is less of that because, like, hey, these characters, this world, we're just gonna go.
Yeah.
Do you think like by losing the pirates episode, presumably, and losing the Great Divide and stuff like that, that's why her necklace is still there?
Maybe so.
Maybe because and that harkens back to, even though they go on these crazy adventures, it's such it's a serialized show where even the craziest adventures they've been on, it all pays forward to the plot, like in some way, shape, or form. Like we see the pirates multiple times. And we
see June multiple times,
like we see these side characters, or these characters from these side adventures multiple times. And
the swamp benders, are they cut?
Jet.
I think Jet had a photo, didn't he?
Oh yeah, he did.
A photo of him?
The people in Kyoshi Island, will they be?
What about Pipsqueak and the Duke? Are they there? Smeller be there? I don't know.
Right.
Jet. Or are the people from Kyoshi Islands are they serving justice? Is it just us?
Is it just a few? Right? Is it just a few warriors this time? Like, what are we doing here? Also, they've already cast Avatar Kyoshi. Where does that factor in? In the first book, it's like, okay, are we going to speak with
That's
Kyoshi
a change because she's not in season 1. Yeah.
Right.
Oh yeah, she's not. Yeah.
I'm confused as to how we're going to incorporate the avatars so early, at least Kyoshi so early.
Right.
Those are the things that concern me, in the sense that we've talked about them. Like, we as critics understand that they have to cut things to make this work and change things up for this adaptation, right? But you start adding Kyoshi and it's like, why? That could have just been time focusing on Aang or Sokka or Zuko or Katara or Iroh, but it's like, why are you adding Avatar Kuruk?
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it is just for like because I mean, Roku really was Aang's or it has been Aang's like spirit guide for the most part, especially in season 1. Yeah, because even when them going to like the fire temple, it's like there's just so much. There's these small little adventures that just adds up to everything. It's like, oh man, like this, and this. But yeah, it's gonna be condensed, and that's something we all just have to live with. And I think when people watch this, to just understand that you just have to have a separation between the original and this remix or remake or reimagining, whatever, the live action, because just because this is out does not erase the original, because there is no live action remake without the original. So it's like, even if people don't vibe with it, you still have the original show to go back to. I just want to, because I know some people can get a little too passionate, but yeah.
So unless you had something to add to that point, Leo, I did want to pose a question for you guys right quick. We keep referring to this as an adaptation or an adaptation, right? Take Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings movies had to change a lot of things to take it from the books to the screen.
Right.
Same with Game of Thrones, same with comic books. We're in that weird spot, and I want your guys' thoughts on this. Don't mind Max. I think the mailman's here if you hear him. I'm sorry. My question for you, though, is like Avatar started out as a show. It's a show that exists, that was made in the 21st century. Do we need this show at all? Because if you're just going to make, even if it's decent, you're just going to make a worse version of a show that already exists. What's the point? Is that a failure? What do you expect? What does it need to do for you, I guess, to be a worthy adaptation? Because you're right. I could just go watch the cartoon.
Yeah.
And I probably will go watch the cartoon. It's like at least seeing Aragorn for the first time, period, is exciting.
Yeah.
But I've already seen Aang. I've already seen the Agni Gods. I've already heard the score and the music. So it's like, are you just going to be a cheap imitation or a copy? Like,
it's just going to be like the Frosted Flakes that you find at Aldi, where it's the polar bear on the front instead of Tony the Tiger, because that is a real thing.
Oh my goodness! Not here talking about the Great Value,
and it's literally called Frosted Flakes, and I'm like, there has to be some kind of copyright going on.
Some kind of issue going on,
or it's
but that's my point of like,
what's
what do we need this to do?
Did this need to
feel
exist?
Worth it?
Right. I think there's a couple of parts to that. So I think part of it is to attract new fans. I do think that is something, because they're, outward perception might be like, oh, this is a kid show. Yeah. Or I don't like animation. Oh, this is a kid show. I don't know. I think it's to attract that crowd. I think that's part of it. I also think another part of it is kind of like them seeing how bad M. Night messed up and wanting to get that IP because it was so popular on their platform. Hey, this is a chance for us to grab another big IP and have it a part of our library. They've got One Piece now, which I think the scripts for season 2 are already done. So it's ramping up and continuing production with Stranger Things, Cobra Kai. And I know I'm missing a few integral series. They're ending. And they're getting to their end, so their library is slimming down. They got to have some new staples. So I think you've got trying to attract new viewers. I think you've got Netflix trying to capitalize on an IP because they are a business. Happens. And then I think there's a small third part of it that those writers and people were big fans of the show and they actually really want to make it. It sounds to me like his name is Albert Kim, right? The writer.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's really into this material, and it sounded like they really wanted to make it with Mike and Brian, and that didn't work out, unfortunately. But it sounds like they really wanted to come together and make a more faithful adaptation of the Avatar franchise.
I agree. Your first question, Mike, when you're saying, do we need this? In hindsight, no. But like Leo said, Netflix is a business. They are shopping around for existing IP. Arguably,
I guess my thing is like, I understand from the Netflix point of view. I'm talking about you, the fan of this property specifically.
As a fan, do I think we need this?
Okay.
Yeah.
No.
That's the thing, because like
we're talking as
Leo,
a fan.
You made a great point, but like as a fan, what do you feel?
As a fan,
I kind of feel like maybe not. I mean,
yeah, as a fan, I don't think we need this at all.
We don't. I just, as a super fan of the core Avatar series,
yeah,
we really don't.
No.
I mean, really, the series itself is so phenomenal. It's one of the greatest shows, in my opinion, of television history. So, no, we don't need it.
No.
Do we need it? No. But it's a lot of wants,
Yeah, it goes into and it goes into, everything has to be turned to live action. And I feel like, and I might sound a bit pretentious when I say this, and I hate sounding pretentious, but it feels like, let's make this live action version of a show because people may not take Avatar: Last Airbender seriously because it's a cartoon, when we shouldn't be like thinking that way. But that's like an American mindset where it's like, this is animated, it must be for kids. It's like, well, it could be depending on who makes it, but obviously we have, Attack on Titan obviously begs to differ, much like other animated projects in general, but depending on the culture, obviously. But yeah, it's I don't, as a fan, I don't think we need this. I'm like, I was excited at first, but it's like, I can just, anytime I want to watch Avatar, I'll just pop it in. I got the Blu-ray collection, I got Legend of Korra, I got the whole thing. We're getting new movies next year. Like we're eating good. Mike and Brian they're cooking, they're doing their own thing. I'm reading the the comics. Finally reading the comics. Even though I started with the search, I was like blown away. I was surprised that the secret's been kept from me from this long. But it's like, as a fan, I don't think we need this. And that's not like slamming on it, but it's just, it goes back to, everything needs to be live action. Everything. It's like, everything. I get it. The business side, we understand that. But just from a creator standpoint, it's starting to get a little stale because, you get the book series. I totally understand that. But it's like, does every cartoon need a live action counterpart? And that's the thing where, and that might be
Danny Phantom.
So it's like that might be a question for another day, but it's like even the live action Moana.
Yeah, because I was about to go off.
Or even another better example would be How to Train Your Dragon, where it's like,
that's a book series though.
It's okay. I retract that statement then. But yeah, we see, they're big into a lot of video games now too. We're like, we've had Uncharted, The Last of Us, supposedly getting God of War, Horizon. We've had Tomb Raider, so many other either video game adaptations or video game movies based on video games or series like Arcane, which is phenomenal. But I don't know. It's like, is this the new trend? Like, is this replacing the comic book era? But again, questions for another day. But yeah, I don't really think
that's the next step. Yeah.
Yeah, as a fan, I don't really think we need this at all.
But think about it. It is very similar. To what you're saying. It is very similar to bringing another visual medium like a comic book onto a big screen.
Yeah.
So I think with what you were saying, man, I completely agree. I think this is where the next era is headed.
Yeah.
Live action anime, live action animation, live action adaptions. And here's the thing.
We just got
Disney's fault. Yeah, and nobody even talked about that. So did that even?
That's just how common it is now.
It's like
I missed that.
You guys had Yu Yu Hakusho. Like, nobody even thought about it.
I didn't even watch it.
I didn't even watch it, man. I'm gonna be real with you. I was like, they're fighting Toguro in a garage. I think I'm gonna go ahead and skip this. But Disney is the one to blame for making these live action movies, and they were getting ate up at the box office. Everybody wants a piece of that pie now. They're like, well, look, Lion King made $1 billion. Everybody wants a piece, and people are watching.
They made $1 billion, and it feels like public perception of like most people don't like that movie.
You know,
$1 billion anyway.
Is Alvin and the Chipmunks, is that owned by Disney or is that something? Because I remember
it might
when
be Paramount. I don't know.
Because I'm not sure if you guys remember, and this might be a little bit off the beaten path, but it's relatable. When Princess and the Frog came out, that was Disney's last 2D animation project. And I remember
that was Fox, so now it's owned by
Fox.
Disney.
Now, okay, so at the time it was Fox.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, and I could be totally wrong, anyone out there, let me know if I am.
Send it to Kind of Funny. You're wrong.
Greg could be so confused, like what the hell? So Alvin and the Chipmunks, the live action movie, came out. I believe it was in the box office at the same time as Princess and the Frog, if I remember correctly. And what I remember is that Alvin and Chipmunks, that live action movie, outperformed Princess and the Frog. And I'm pretty sure Disney has not made a 2D animation project ever since. I'm not sure if that was like Disney's wake up, like, oh my gosh, we need to move towards like CGI live action.
They announced at least before Princess and the Frog came out that was going to be their final 2D.
Okay,
that was part of the marketing. This is our last.
Oh, was
2D
it?
movie.
Oh, was okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I digress. Yeah, I'll backpedal there a bit. I was just like, because I was like, I'm pretty sure like the next like project that Disney made after was like Frozen or whatever, or Tangled or something. I was like, I wonder if that had something to do with the box office success of Alvin and Chipmunks. So I mean, oh my gosh,
because the movie you're referencing, because Alvin and the Chipmunks came out in 2007, Prince of the Frog came out in 2009. Alvin and the Chipmunks, the Squeakquel, came out 2 weeks after Princess and the Frog.
Maybe it was the Squeakquel then. Okay.
So yeah, so like Alvin and the Chipmunks already happened. And
right.
So Disney probably saw that.
Yeah.
And then they're like, people came out and made more money.
Yeah. So they're like, let's
move
on.
That's with a straight face twice.
That's a Squeakquel. Yeah. So I was wondering if that had any influence for Disney, but
I think because guess what? We don't have no 2D animated movies no more.
I also think DreamWorks too, though, right?
And DreamWorks, yeah.
They seen them 3D Shrek movies doing numbers and saying
making fun of them.
I was talking about Shrek the other day.
For real.
Quotable movie.
Classic, bro. Man, DreamWorks been kind of rough lately, hasn't they?
A little bit with yeah.
You didn't like Orion in the Dark?
That was DreamWorks? I didn't even see
it.
Sure.
DreamWorks and Netflix. I like the first 30 minutes. Great first 30 minutes. And
really?
We just kind of slide on downhill. And then Rudy Gilman or whatever.
I didn't even bother.
I got Kung Fu Panda 4 around the corner. And listen,
I like Toy Story 5.
Frozen 3.
It's the Squeakquel.
Inside Out 2, which that looks kind of good.
It looks pretty good.
But
I'm willing to give Pixar the benefit of the doubt with their sequels, but like there's no way on earth I would have greenlit 5 Toy Story movies. I would have stopped at 3. They surprised me with 4, so I don't know.
3 was the perfect ending to that, but 4 was good. Like I like
it was. It was a nice little epilogue. Yeah, I did like it.
It was cute. What the heck are they gonna do now? Like,
but
Woody's Roundup.
Sorry, we got off.
That should have been the name of the last movie, Toy Story. Woody's Roundup or Woody's Final Roundup.
Yeah,
that would have been great. No, but
Woody's last
back on topic with Avatar.
Yeah,
I guess we just gotta wait and see. Hope for the best. I'm sure both of you guys are gonna be reviewing it on your respective outlets, though. It's gonna be.
I don't know. I mean, I can't even get my co-host to watch the original, so maybe he might watch it. He might. I might solo it. I don't know.
You've got 12 days to get Devin to watch book 1 at least. Because if he watches book 1, sure.
Yeah, he'll be all caught up to speed.
I mean, they're like, dude, these episodes are like 20 minutes a piece.
Yeah,
like,
I know.
We
blew through them when we were covering. We were just like, I was like, oh my god, I felt like it's been so.
I've already been through book 1 and half of book 2, and I'm watching Cobra Kai.
Heck yeah.
Got a lot of other watches going on. So,
yo, give me a Cobra Kai animated
to
series.
The past, Leo. You're going Samurai Jack style. Not watching anything new. Just watching the classics.
That's
gonna
be the next live action thing. Samurai Jack's gonna be next. It's gonna happen.
But I got a prep for season 6 of Cobra Kai. X-Men 97's coming up.
Oh yeah,
we just got some prep to do.
I mean, honestly, like even with F, it's basically Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends, but that's what it reminds me of. At least
It's so. How did I?
They're like, this is Pixar. I'm like, no, this is Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Like,
this is
this
the
is
first
what
I ever
this
thought
is.
about that. It
my
really is. Oh my gosh.
It is.
That was
Holy
such a great
smokes.
show.
Blue better be in this movie, man. That was my dog.
We demand it.
Oh gosh. Any final thoughts though on Avatar: Last Airbender before we wrap this up?
I'm just gonna pray to the moon spirit that it's good. And just we're just gonna take it as it is. I don't want to go into the series like hate watching or anything, because that is like probably the worst thing you can do with any projects, because it's like, why even watch it if you're just gonna talk on it the entire time?
Do you think that was, and this is conspiracy Mike coming in,
dun, dun, dun.
do you think this was dun, dun, dun. Classic? Do you think this was done on purpose? Like Netflix and Albert Kim kind of came in to set expectations. Maybe they overcorrected a little bit, but like, hey,
a little.
This show is slightly not that it's bad. Not that they're preparing.
Yeah.
But like, what if it's more of a like, hey, we want you to realize that this is not the show you grew up with. That this is a different interpretation on that show.
I think
they're kind of warning us ahead of time.
See, they should have done that ages ago, and we didn't hear anything about the show.
No, because then we would be. Well, if they did that ages ago, we'd be like, I don't know if I want to watch. You can't be doing that too
Or
early,
maybe they should have done it afterwards.
Now's the best time to do it, I think.
You think so?
If you do it anytime before, a couple weeks before release, people are going to be like, you know what? I'm not watching that, bro. If you would have told me 6 or 7 months ago that Qatar ain't going to have like a motherly
That's true. That's true.
It's not going to be Texas.
Do you think they should have just waited until after? You think they should have waited till after, like maybe just see what fans' reactions were?
No, let me know right away when I'm
that's the thing. That's the thing, and that's the tough call. It's like you either release it and people are judging it under a microscope of you didn't do what the cartoon did, or you go off the bat and be like, hey, we're not doing what the cartoon did, and now we're open to it because we already know that's going to happen.
That's
it's
fair.
Like, oh, this really surprised me.
You're right. Yeah. Okay.
IGN's gonna have the side-by-side scene comparisons and blah 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 because
they did all for The Last of Us. Yeah, everything. Like, here's everything that's not in the.
Yeah. Because think about if they hadn't told us, and we would have started
talked
that
a little bit
Christian.
too much.
Like, think about if they didn't tell us about Sokka, and they just started it up, and it's like, well, hold on, he getting into the Kyoshi Warriors, and he kind of just cool with all that. Like, it'd be like a little bit of a hard hits. You do that right after the trailer. Because we're all, oh my God, I can't wait. And then they say that, it's kind of like, okay, temper.
Because like, even after all that, you both were still at an 8 because the trailer looked that good. And so like, maybe that was the plan of like, hey, we know this looks good. Now we got to hit them with the bad news.
I think you're right. Yeah. Kind of just do the whole bait and switch. Or just like one after the other, like I have good news and bad news. Which one do you want first? It's like, oh, the good news trailer looks amazing. Bad news is this is a remix.
It's like
which is such a weird way to put it.
Like, let's just say reimagining. It's so much easier. Or just say, this is just not the show that we made some changes. But
if you say reimagining, though, I kind of feel like, okay, then this is going to be a different take on the lore.
I mean, it's just Game of Thrones. That's what they want it to be. Maybe it's Avatar Game of Thrones version. Everyone's just
think of it as an actual remix in the like. Think of music, right? Think of The Weeknd, right? Releases a banger song, but then the remix comes in, same song, slightly different. Ariana Grande is featured on it now.
Yeah,
things are slightly different. Beats a little different.
Yeah.
But at the heart of it, it's still the thing you like. And so I feel like that's what they mean by remix. It's like it's tweaked. It's not a reinvention of the wheel. We didn't change Aang's tattoo is not red instead of blue. It's still by and large the thing you like.
Yeah, glad. Very happy that he changed colors.
We're going full Game of Thrones, just like it's gonna be engraved on his forehead. The blood stain of the
I would be so bad.
I will say too, the arrow looks great.
It does.
The arrow looks really cool. And somebody pointed out a detail. This might have been James or it might have been someone else, but they pointed out a cool detail that Gyatso's arrow is kind of like a little more faded. So it's like, okay, that like shows his age and it shows like that there's like a little bit of fading
tattoos,
time. Yeah, I thought that was a cool detail.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a nice little attention to detail. But yeah,
I love the costume design. Like on the positives,
yeah,
this show looks amazing. Like,
and the music.
Iroh's armor looks fantastic. Sokka's armor looks amazing. Like Katara's like coat and jacket.
Her hair loopies.
Hey, it looks great. Like visually, they nailed it. Perfect.
They did. Perfect casting.
Honestly. Perfect casting. Looks great. The visuals, I mean, besides a couple things, look good. The water bending looks cool. Like it looks visually really, really good. And the locations look great so far. From what I saw in the trailer, it looks awesome.
Yeah. Like it's like they had me sold. Like, you know, we're definitely gonna watch it. And I'm excited. I am excited. I just wanna see what's different. I want to see how they're gonna cover so much ground within 8 episodes. Like if they're an hour a piece, like okay, I can kind of see that. But if they're like 35 to 40, we'll see. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. Guys, this has been a fun conversation. We're gonna have to reunite somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Here. Geekly Goods, Film Optix. I don't really care, so we can talk about this show when it comes out. Because I can't wait to talk about it with you guys. I can't wait for everybody to see it. Can't wait, praying, hoping that we get Kaiju Aang in this show.
Seriously.
Because that's something the Shyamalan movie didn't do.
Like if he just does this the whole time, and I'm like, man. What's wrong with y'all? The water starts swirling up.
He's got to do his trick. Check this out.
Oh man, that'd be great. We got to wrap this one up though. We'll be back in a couple weeks, still talking Avatar here on the channel. But before we go, Christian, where can the folks find you online?
Oh boy. Well, first off, thank you so much for having both of us on. You know, it's always great chatting Avatar with you guys because we just get into it and it's like I absolutely love it. But you can find my audio only podcast, Film Optix. That is Optix with an X on Instagram, Twitter, and Threads. So we've been pushing out a lot of stuff. We've actually just had by the time this is out, we've released our most anticipated movies and television shows, 2 episodes separate of 2024, where Avatar: Last Airbender actually is like my number 1. So, I'm still excited for it. But definitely check out, our most anticipated movies and series of 2024. We've covered things such as Argyle so far, Mean Girls, the 2024 version, of course, the new version. And gosh, just so much. Oh, and Percy Jackson season 1. So definitely find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, wherever you listen to podcasts, we will be there. And again, thank you so much, Mike, for having us on.
Awesome. Can't wait to check all that out. Mean Girls, dude.
It was great. Loved it.
Renee Rapp. That's all I got to say. That's the extent of what I'm going to say on this episode. Leo, where can the folks find you?
Well, I still haven't seen Mean Girls, y'all. I gotta catch up. I got catching up to do. But y'all, you can find me over at Geekly Goods across all social media platforms, covering news on the latest in the DCU, MCU, and more. Mostly MCU, movies, TV. Come on over, y'all. We're gonna be talking about Madam Web very soon. We'll be seeing it soon, and we'll see. That's all I'm saying. But also covering the Deadpool 3 trailer and more MCU news as it pops up, covering Sonic stuff, Cobra Kai. Y'all, come on over, y'all. Let's talk some geek at Geekly Goods. Awesome. Come on over to the dojo. Come on over to the dojo, y'all.
Hit Leo with the HBO.
Geekly Goods.
Hit Leo with the
Wonderful.
HBO special.
Help brother out special.
Yes,
Look brother
sir.
up, man.
Zazel can't
man.
take that away from us.
I am so excited for this next season of Cobra Kai.
I am too, man.
Man.
I'm so glad you guys recommended that. I was like,
such a good show.
He's like, you gotta watch it. I was like, all right. And then I went down the rabbit hole. I was like, it's awesome. It's worth it. Man, guys, those kids.
the dang kids. If you enjoyed this, make sure you give us a like, subscribe so you don't miss a diggity dang thing. Also, check out the Chatter After podcast. Brandon and I are reviewing a bunch of stuff. Oppenheimer was just our latest review. Of course, we're going to be talking Avatar: The Last Airbender, the original and the remake. So that's fun. Brandon actually watched Avatar in its entirety for the very first time.
Wow!
In preparation for this show.
Oh,
yeah, Leo, that was my favorite.
Dedication.
That too.
That shocks me that Brandon this is his first time. That
shocks me.
He's seen enough to get it, but he's never seen it all the way through.
Okay, I bet that was a good experience for him. I can't
wait to talk to him about that in the fall. Actually, also Chatter After Live, they're talking news 2 times a week. They talk about the video game industry because it's a mess. Check that out in your podcast feeds and on the YouTube channel, youtube.com/the-chatter-after. And my writings over at collider.com. Until next time, though, we'll reunite when the show is officially out. We can talk about it. Until then, stay flaming.